right now, most windmills in the North Sea are connected by cables. But in the future, most of that should be done by tubes. At least that's what's saying Martin Van Onna, the CEO of Stroom. Martin. Yeah, Martin, you're a CEO of Stroom.
Yes.
You make tubes.
Correct.
Yeah, for everything.
For everything, but especially for hydrogen.
What is specific for a difference between any tube and a hydrogen tube?
Hydrogen has the tendency to create embrittlement in steel, and it's a very small molecule. So we've developed a composite pipe technology that doesn't have the setbacks that steel has in transporting hydrogen.
Yeah, because we always think we have a gas network. We just take out the natural gas, put in hydrogen. It's not that simple.
No, it is not indeed. Especially hydrogen, when it's generated offshore, it's typically done in waves of different pressures. So typically hydrogen causes embrittlement and fatigue, which both is a serious setback and a disadvantage for steel.
Yeah.
Thermoplastic composite pipe, the technology that we developed, does not know embrittlement, it does not know fatigue, and hence it's an ideal solution for future hydrogen transport.
Yes. Okay, right now most of the electricity coming from sea, or basically everything is coming by cables to land, and then we turn it into the grid, or we perhaps make hydrogen at the electrolyzer. If we turn electricity into hydrogen, we lose a lot of the energy, but basically around 100 kilometers offshore, that's where the tipping point is, when you have less conversion loss if you make hydrogen right there and transport molecules, because all the molecules reach the shore, than if you do it by electricity, because then so many neutrons will have lost somewhere. Is it around 100 kilometer?
Yes, we see that anything above 50 kilometer to 100 kilometers somewhere is the limit of where going beyond that point, it becomes more attractive, lower cost of electricity or cost of energy to move to direct hydrogen production offshore.
Yeah.
We collaborate with Siemens Energy and Siemens Gamesa, who have developed a modular electrolyzer setup, and they believe that moving at that point to direct hydrogen generation in each wind turbine leads to the best business case.
In each turbine?
In each turbine. That's what they call it, the decentralized setup, where a modular setup of electrolyzers, desalination, and the whole powertrain is the most cost effective to simply put it in each wind turbine and connect each wind turbine by pipe to shore.
But it's kind of contrary to the bigger trend that we see in electrolyzers, where they try to build bigger and bigger and bigger gigalyzers, because they say only if it's a gigalyzer, then we have a return on investment.
Yes, indeed, and that's why we find it interesting to work with a party like Siemens Gamesa. They've worked for many years, and they believe that mass production, including modularization, ultimately leads to the best business case or the lowest cost of energy.
Yeah. Okay, so you are saying if we replace the cables by tubes, we can bring molecules to shore instead of electrons, which after 50 to 100 kilometers has less energy loss. You also say it has the advantage of storage.
Yes.
How does that work?
If you look at a current offshore wind park, typically they are at about 40% operation. Else, if there's too much wind, they have to turn off the wind turbines. When you can create hydrogen, you can up that percentage to the maximum as soon as there is wind. You can use the wind to create hydrogen, because you can use the whole infrastructure as a storage.
Okay, so if you produce too much electricity, you cannot lose it on the grid. But if you produce too much hydrogen, you just pump it through the pipes.
Yes.
And then, but then the pipes are going to explode.
Yeah. So what we see typically is that when you have a pipe system where you can fluctuate between 10 bar and 100 bar, you can store a lot of additional hydrogen that you've created at a time when there is no demand.
But if your pipes have to withstand a occasional peak of 100 bar, while mostly doing 10, 20, 50 bar, aren't then they needlessly expensive?
What we see is that typically you would have those fluctuations almost on a daily basis. So if you have that structure or those fluctuations and you would have to use steel, it would be almost impossible because of fatigue. but a pipe that we make using very cost-effective glass fiber materials is the perfect solution.
A 10-kilometer cable for 10 years compared to a 10-kilometer pipe also for 10 years? What is the difference in operating or total cost of ownership?
That's a very good question. We compare our pipes to cables where we see that our installation methods are the same and the cost per meter are roughly the same. Point is, for our pipes, there is no maintenance. So total cost of ownership is, in our case, pretty much the same as total cost of installation.
And what in terms of risks, is a cable explodes, it's a cable, but if a hydrogen thing explodes and
Well, in terms of risk, what we understand, I don't know cables that well, what we understand is that there's a very high failure rate in cables. In our case, in our pipes, we've had to date, and we're 15 years in operation, we've had 0 failures in the field. So the system that we have is very robust, and it is fully qualified.
I hear only
and there's no power. I mean, it's a simple pipe. So by nature, intrinsically, it's a simpler setup than a power that, or a cable that transmits power.
I hear only advantages.
Our pipe is light, too light. That's our disadvantage.
This is one. So we have to make the
Yes, we have to add weight to keep it on the seabed.
Well, we just learned from BP we have to add mussels and oysters to it, because then we save food and we have solved your weight problem.
Yes.
Let's going to think how we're going to do that. Thank you so much, Martin Van Onna.
Thank you.